Hello, Aniela. It's very nice to have you here with me today. And just to let our readers know that you are the CEO and founder of the award-winning NEFFA by MYCOTEX.
Yes,
Welcome.
thank you.
So I would like you firstly to tell us a bit about your background and about your current position.
I have a background in fashion design. I've been working as a fashion designer for commercial companies for several years. And in 2008, I I quit my job and because I wanted to focus on fashion innovation and was really working on bridging the gap between fashion, but also research. I saw a lot of the research had great potential, but companies didn't know how to implement that into actually textile products. So I focused on working with, for example, solar energy or sensors to how to implement that into clothing, but also started working with biotechnology, so bacteria, fungi, and out of that came what we now know as MYCOTEX and NEFFA. So MYCOTEX is the material, and NEFFA stands for New Fashion Factory. So it's a new way of producing garments based on natural materials, and we start with mycelium.
How the idea of MYCOTEX by NEFFA came, and what is the company's main focus and mission?
Yeah, so the idea came from my personal fascination of personalization. So the reason why I did all these projects was to understand how can we personalize fashion. Because if you have a garment that is made for you or that reacts on you or that is really has your perfect size and fit, you will use it for a much longer period of time. And so when I started working with Utrecht University and creating a material that was made from mushrooms, that led to the idea to actually use that material in 3D and giving the opportunity to create a setup of the future possibilities of having custom fit garments. So I can create this product directly in 3D, meaning there's no cutting and sewing involved, and with that also no production waste, for example. And so our main mission is to make sustainable products in the perfect fit, affordable for everyone.
What are the primary biofabricated materials you are using?
So right now we use mycelium-based materials. So mycelium is the so-called root structure of a fungus. It's the part that if you see a mushroom in the forest and you dig a little bit in the ground, you see very thin white threads. And those threads we are growing in mass. And that is the base material of our MYCOTEX material. And once we are on the market, then we would like to dive into other biomaterials as well. So think about algae or collagen, all grown through fermentation.
How many projects are you currently working on?
Well, we are working with different brands. I unfortunately cannot disclose with whom we are working for, but we're working on different types of products. So some products are for the interior industry, and some are for the fashion industry. So you can think about accessories like bags, footwear uppers, those kind of products. So those are projects we are working on.
Could you describe a day in your life?
A day in my life is very well, every day is different. So it could be that I am starting with sewing something, then I have meeting with investors, then I'm discussing with my team on the mycelium materials, and we have a client coming over at the end of the day. This could be a day, but it's like from cleaning to having very important meetings, everything in between. That's what I'm doing.
How will this field evolve in the next 10 years? And will more brands produce clothes from biomaterials?
Well, you saw already in the past years that the focus on creating of these new materials became very important. I mean, after all, we have a planet to take care of, and if we want to sustain that planet, we have to drastically change our behavior and the way that we create and use products. I think in the coming years, so right now we are the only company focusing on having both a material and a manufacturing process. So both are really seamless integrated. One cannot do without the other. But the majority is either focusing on creating a material that then fits into the conventional industry, or maybe investigating some new manufacturing methods. And I don't know how it will evolve, but I would like to share how I would like to see it evolve. And that would be more of a focus, like more a holistic approach, like what we are having. Like because we're doing the full supply chain, we can improve so many steps that you otherwise cannot do. And we hope to also be an inspiration for others to think from a holistic point of view, and to think like, okay, you know, the two main ingredients are to have a great, you need a material and you need a great product, but how to get from one to another, it's not set in stone. And so, you know, if we can have more companies thinking about these kind of things, how to go more sustainably from a material to a final product, that would be how I would love to see the next 10 years.
Can custom textiles sustainably come into the market?
This is always a difficult question to ask, because I think that when creating things, you're adding more things into the market, and you know, how much at the end do we need? But our goal is to really replace products with a sustainable alternative. And when you mean with custom textiles, custom fit, the way that we can bring it onto the market is because we have a different way of manufacturing. So right now, what you see that we need to get large order quantities because we have this whole factory with 20 to 40 seamstresses working on a product. If you change the product, the sequence of the factory has to change. And so this is also why it's more cheaper to have large order quantities, because then you don't have to change the setup many times. The way that we make it happen is that we work with robots, and we work with molds. So the robot can apply the biomass onto the mold, and it doesn't really matter if the mold is a shoe, if the mold is a bag or a jacket. It just recognizes the mold, and therefore you are much more flexible in production. And this can lead to more custom fit products in the market.
Do you believe that people will be persuaded to buy such products in the future, and how?
Yes, of course, we believe that people will be buying those things, but we only believe that they buy it if it looks great. So when I started in this industry, that's like in 2008, I was actually looking for sustainable products. But for me, it felt like either my mother had washed it 100 times, or the discussions were about a button of cork, not really making an impact. And in order to make an impact, you need to create products that look great and that the audience wants. And I think this also comes, my background comes very handy. I'm used to creating commercial collections that are sold by some famous brands. And so I can already think about what kind of products, what kind of colors are commercial, because at the end, if it's not selling, we are not making impact. So yeah, this is the way that I think, you know, by making great products that people want to buy, and on top of that, they have to make the sustainable option or the sustainable choice. That's how we want to persuade them.
According to you, in which sectors can smart textiles make a significant impact?
Depending on the type of smart, it can be beneficial in different sectors. So if you think like, if you could add ingredients to your textile that can nurture the skin, then it can have a nice health benefit, or maybe more well-being, like you can create oil, textile that then the oil rubs into your skin over a period of time.
That would be interesting.
Yes. I mean, I used to work a lot. That's why the question, like, what is considered smart textiles? I used to work a lot with sensors and solar cells, and that's considered smart as well. And
Okay.
but based on what we're currently doing, I would consider smart more in surface coating or in adding ingredients that can be beneficial.
Okay. What are the challenges this field is facing?
I think one of the challenges is that in order to make it into this industry, it is the easiest to make a textile that already is known. So make a replacement for cotton that uses less water. You see, so our material, we place it in between leather and plastics. We are actually not trying to make a replication, sorry, an alternative in that sense, like a leather alternative, but we really try to make a material of its own. But because everyone is trying to make an alternative to something, we are forced to meet leather specs, even though we don't think that we have to recreate leather. Because we think, yeah, leather is such a unique material of its own. So in that line, it would be great if we could think industry-wide and come to an agreement of some kind of basic specs that is like a minimum required to create textiles, because I think that would help all the innovators move forward. Also because now specs, and I'm talking about like tensile strength, abrasion, so really day-to-day use of the textiles. But now every brand has different specs, and it's for an innovator quite complicated to understand, to get to get the hand of that and understand like what is actually considered a minimum requirement, and then what we do on top of that, that's a bonus. So for me, it would be really great if we could get some kind of base standard, and then, you know, if you reach that, then it's time to talk with brands, and then if everything you add up to that, it's a bonus.
Regarding smart textiles technology, how it will be involved in the everyday life and fashion in the future?
Yeah, I think that really depends on the type of smart textile. So bringing it back to what I think we could do. So for example, create skin caring textiles. That could be from well-being to actual health. So I can imagine that we could create ingredients that could be added to the textile that could maybe enlighten psoriasis. I'm not saying curing, because I don't think that a garment can cure something, but enlightening the skin, for example, or, you know, giving it a nice smell, things like that is something that probably we could do in the future, I should say.
Like a perfume, maybe.
Yes, yes.
Body lotion or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, there do exist already technologies that you incorporate very tiny kind of balls, and then when you move in your garments, those are like the scent is then disappearing, and then you have a nice smell.
Can you choose the smell or not yet?
I don't know. I mean, I know that that technology exists. I don't know exactly how that works, but I know that we could apply it also on a certain level.
Okay. What is your most outstanding achievement until today?
I would say that one of the ones that I'm very proud of is that we were the first to showcase how to create a commercial looking dress out of mushroom materials. A dress that people actually saw themselves wearing, because when we exhibited that dress, a lot of people actually thought that they actually said that they would like to wear it. And then we could have like a good conversation about, you know, having new materials. But I would say that for me, this is one of the highlights. And I hope next year, the next highlight will be when we actually launch a product onto the market.
And what is your next goal?
So that's one of our next goals. But actually, we have a bigger goal. We really would like to become a new manufacturing method next to cutting and sewing, and really create impacts with all the benefits that we have in our manufacturing method.
What are your tips for people wanting to start in this field?
I always say just start. You will only know if you like it when you start doing it. You will only know if it could be successful once you work on it. There's a lot of people that are like developing ideas and working on paper, but unless you start creating materials and developing prototypes already in an early stage, I would say, this is how you understand and you can talk with people to see if there's a market for it as well.
If you could say something to your younger self, what would it be?
Well, it is not easy to develop this, so I think I would say that every disappointment and failure that you will face will make you stronger and help you actually be more dedicated to meet your future goals.
What is the invention of the century in your eyes?
Um, well, internet is for me like a big invention, because I don't know if it's this century, but like if I take the past 100 years, then for me the internet is absolutely my favorite one, because it made so much things accessible without having it in your direct environment. So I grew up near the border of Germany, a very small village, and to work with technologies like with LED lighting in garments, the internet made it possible. It allowed me to order very tiny LEDs online from a company far away. And that would not have been, I would not have given the idea, or would not be able to, buy these kind of things and start experimenting without the internet. So yeah, for me, that was really an eye opener and allowed me to experiment a lot.
Which famous person would you like to have dinner with and why?
Um, uh, ooh. Well, I mean, there are different people for different reasons. Um, I would say right now it would be interesting to talk to Kim Kardashian. I have several reasons for that. One, I think how she's becoming such a phenomenon. You have to be a businesswoman to do that. So I would like to know her tricks. Second would be, I would love to make a dress for her. She's wearing a lot of elastic, like spandex and knitwear. I would love to show her that with a non-woven, we can create like a seamless, perfectly fitted jacket for her. So I think those two reasons would be why I would like to talk with her.
Mm-hmm. Where would you like to travel next?
Is it business or pleasure?
I would say pleasure.
For pleasure. Oh, well, I can actually combine it. I would love to go to Japan for both. I think that from culture point of view, it's an interesting company to visit. But I think also there's a lot of innovation going on. And from a working point of view, I would love to, do some shopping, discover some brands, and maybe see if we can launch with some Japanese brands as well.
Mm. And last question, what did you dream of creating, inventing, or doing as a child?
As a child, I knew already back then that I wanted to have my own business. I didn't know what, but I was also very sure that I would develop it myself. So, ta-da! I made that actually happen, which is awesome.
That's great. And this is a good message to finish with. Follow your dreams,
Yes,
basically.
yes. But I think that in general, I think people should do that more and find a way of
Mm-hmm.
how to make that happen. But I mean, I have a big dream. I think dreams can also be very tiny. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, pursue them, please.
Mm-hmm.
Make your life nice.
Yes. Thank you very much for today, Aniela.
You're welcome.